So I'm going to zoom back in and I'm going to fix these areas. So once again, this is a mask that I'm using on my photo of myself to remove the background. And so this is the same as the brush mask that we used in class. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on my brush, which is the shortcut to that is B on the keyboard. And remember, you have your brush menu up here. So you can choose your hardness, you can choose your size there. I'm going to leave the hardness on 100. And remember, the shortcuts for the brush to make them bigger and smaller are the two brackets that are right next to the P on your keyboard. And so making it bigger, making it smaller. And remember, you also want to have black and white over here. Black, remember, it hides things, and white is going to reveal things. And remember, you also want to make sure that you have your outline, your selection right here on your mask. If you have this selected, your image, then all you're going to do is paint on your image, and you don't want to paint on the image, you want to paint on the mask. So I'm going to select this mask. I'm using black, and now I'm going to clean up the border around my shoe here. I'm going to use white to fix out the chunk of my shoe that got taken away. And so remember, to switch this black into white, you hit X, and there we go. Now I've got white as my color that I'm going to paint with. And so I'm going to fix my shoe. Now I'm purposely going to paint in too much, more than I need, so that way I can go back and remove it. Because remember, you can just switch these colors around. And now I'm back to black as my color. And I'm going to clean up the edge of my shoe here. I'm going to switch back to the move tool so I don't paint anything. Control minus to zoom out. And that looks good enough for my outline here. So next thing, we are going to talk about the effects that I want you to use. What you want to do, select the photo that you are going to add the effect to. So right here, I'm going to go with this palm tree that's right behind my butt there. I'm going to use that. And there's two ways to turn on the effects. If you go right down here next to the layer button, you'll see it says FX. If you click here, this brings up a menu of your effects options. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the drop shadow. I like using the drop shadow because it helps to add depth. So this window, I'm going to drag it over here so I can actually see. And there's a couple things I'm going to talk about here. And this right here, maybe I should zoom in on that. This right here is the image that I'm working on. And that shadow looks like crap. So I'm going to turn that down. You've got some controls here. You've got distance. Oh, and make sure so you can see this. Make sure that the drop shadow option right here is highlighted. The one that's highlighted is the one you're looking at with the menu controls over here. So I'm on drop shadow. I am going to turn the distance down. The spread of it, I'm going to make it so it doesn't spread so much. I don't like that. And then the size of it, I'm going to turn this down too so that it doesn't look so crazy. And then this is really, just how you want to set this up. It's all up to you how much you want to use and what you want it to look like. I'm going to play with these controls a little bit. Another cool thing you can do here is you can change the angle of it. So what direction is your shadow falling in? You can turn this all the way around and you should be able to see. I'm going to do this couple stops so you can see. As you move this, the direction of your shadow is going to change, right? And so I'm going to go with about a 45-degree angle right there. And yeah, that looks fine to me. Hit OK. There we go. So now I've got a shadow on that photo. These effects here are easy to duplicate. There's two ways to do this. If I hold Alt on the keyboard, I can click on this effect right here and drag it down, and you see it's got that blue line again. Let it go. And now I just added this drop shadow effect up here to this snow day photo, right? And so I'm going to keep going. I'm going to put this on the doggy lowrider photo next. Another way to do this, I'm going to go back to this kids layer. And if I right click on my mouse on that layer, it gives you a whole menu of options here. We're not going to use most of this right now. I'm going to come down here to where it says copy layer style. Okay. I can click that. And then now I'm going to come right here to the mom and dad one. and I can right click again, and you'll see paste layer style is now an option. And so I click there, and you can see this layer or this shadow just popped up right there. The other thing you can do, and I'll do this on the doggy lowrider one so that you can see this. If I come back here, select this layer, and I hit the right click, I can do clear layer style. So if I don't like what's going on there, I can just clear the layer style like that. Another thing I can do to get rid of an effect if I don't like it is I can grab the effect right here from the layer I want to remove it from and just drag this straight to this trash can, and boom, it's gone. So there's multiple ways to add and remove effects, and so I'm just going to keep copying this effect down to every layer so that I can add the shadow to all of them. Alright, so now I have the drop shadow effect added on all of my photos. With my photo, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I could do the drop shadow, but instead I'm going to do what's called a stroke. So right here, I'm going to click stroke, and right now it's a red stroke. Oh, I didn't have this highlighted. There we go. So now we can see it. I'm going to change it to white, and so just like that, you can click right here where it says color, and you can change your color by dragging around within that box. And I'm going to hit OK on this. And there's a couple things I want to show you here. I'm pretty sure by default, the position of your border or your stroke is going to be inside. I don't like to use the stroke that way. I like it to be outside for the most part. Every once in a while, I may put it inside, but I like this outside actually. So I'm going to click there, and you can also change the size right here. And I'm going to keep this down to about 10 or so. Yeah, right there. I think that looks great. That's fine. One more thing I want to show you is, say you want to do 2 strokes on something or even 3 strokes on something. You can click this plus right here, and it will add more strokes onto this. So I've got 3 total here. Whatever I was working on last, I was using 3 different strokes, and I'm going to show you what that looks like real quick. You click this checkbox right here to turn these on. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to change the color of this. I'm going to make it red this time so you can see the difference. And this number right here is smaller than the first one. Remember, the first one, I've got this one on 10. The second one should be bigger, right? And so it's on 6. I'm going to turn this up to, anything above 10. So now we're on 21. And you can see now I have a double stroke around me. So I'm going to turn on the third one. And I'm going to go right there. And this one was already big. I don't know what I was doing there, but yeah, that one is already bigger than the other 2. So yeah, you can see it. I've got a triple outline on me right now. But I don't want that. I'm going to turn this off. So all you have to do really is click those check boxes, and it turns them off. So right there, I've got a white stroke. I'm also going to add a drop shadow just to keep in the consistency of using drop shadows. And this time, again, because I have this white outline, in order to see that, I got to turn this up and make this shadow a little bit bigger. So I'm going to bring this up slowly. I don't want to make it too big. Keep messing with these till it looks right to me. Right there looks fine. And there we go. To me, that feels fine. Well, good enough for this project right now. If I was really doing this for real, I would take a lot more time to arrange these photos and do them the way that feels right to me. Make sure that, there's nothing going on here, because, this Whataburger photo is being covered up, and I love me some Whataburger, so I definitely wouldn't want to cover up the Whataburger. Another thing I want to show you is what's called the text tool. So in case you want to add some text to your collage here, you got this T over here on this toolbar, and that is your type tool, right? So I'm going to click there. The shortcut to get to the type tool is T, so you could just click T on the keyboard and you will get to your type tool. Now before I click anywhere on the screen and before I do anything, I'm going to show you a couple options here. You've got this new menu that's popped up on this toolbar here. And this one right here is your style of font, okay? So if you look here, Adobe comes with all kinds of different fonts, and you can see right here on the right, it gives you a little sample of what your text is going to look like. tells you your name over here on the left. If you really like something, you can click the star right here, and that'll add it to your favorites. Sometimes you have different versions of a font available. So like there's the regular style. Looks like this next one is called Hairline, and from what I can tell, that looks like a very thin version. There is an inline, an outline, a shade version. There's different versions of this. A lot of times, maybe this wasn't a good option to use, but a lot of times you'll see bold, you'll see thin, you'll see different options. You'll see italic. You'll see different options here for the different look of the font. I'm just going to stick with regular. This next box over here is the size of your font. So right now I'm at 30 point font. I'm going to go with something big. I'm going to go to 72 point. And sharp. Honestly, I don't know how to explain this, so I'm just going to leave that. These three buttons right here set the alignment of your text. And so this is left align, this is center align, and this is right align. You might need that depending on what you want to do with your text. I'm just going to keep it on center. I'm only going to do one line of text here in the background. And so, all right, now I've got my settings set here. Oh, and right here, this is if you want to change the color of your font. So I'm going to go with red, just something that's going to be bold and it's going to stand out. Hit OK on that. And now I'm going to click into the background. And what this is going to do is this is going to pop up some default dummy text that is just there to show you a sample of what your text is going to look like. And I'm just going to type out 2022 because these were photos that I shot in 2022. And now I can see how big my font is on my canvas. I want to make this bigger. And so I'm going to drag this mouse over this text and get it highlighted. And I'm going to go up here to the box where the size of the font is. And you can type in the size. I want to go at least as big as this. So I'm just going to go up to 150. I'm going to hit enter. And there now you can see it resize my text. I'm happy with that. And so I'm going to click the check mark here. All right, so now that I have my text set, I'm going to go back to the move tool. I'm just going to move this around. And I don't know what I'm doing with this. Like I just threw this in there just to show you how to do text. And again, with this, you can add certain effects to this. And so I'm going to double click here. There goes my effects menu. And I can add a stroke to it. I can add the drop shadow just like I did to myself. There's other things you can do here. If you want to play with these, you can play around with them and figure out what they are. I'm not going to take the time in this video to show you, but you can go ahead and play with these if you'd like. Okay, so this right here, like I could honestly do like a much better job with this if I really wanted to. I really just wanted to show you all a variety of things that you can do in here, how you would get this done, like if you want to change, like if you wanted to add text or, you know, resizing your images and using effects. And I think with these tools that I'm showing you, you could come up with a pretty decent collage. There's a lot of options you could do. Make sure you have your images selected before you jump into this. I'd probably even go online and look up some more images of how people do collages. That would probably be good to give you a good idea of what this could look like. And so, yeah, I'm done with this. And I'm going to go up to File. I'm going to click Save. And once again, you want to save on your computer. I'm going to call this collage number 3 because I think this is the third one example I've done now. And I'm going to hit on a computer. All right, so now it's going to save. It's saved. And now I'm also going to export this. And so we go down, we go up to File, go to Export right here in the middle of the list, and choose Save for Web. All right, and so again, if I didn't explain this to you before, what you see in this window is just a preview. You can actually move this around and see the rest of your image because it doesn't show you the entire thing if your image is too big for the box there. And so I'm going to leave that at that. Right up here, the file format should be JPEG. And then I'm going to hit Save. You don't have to change anything else here. And so there we go. That is now saved. So yeah, that's a wrap. I'm going to end this video. Thanks for checking it out. If you have any questions, let me know.